fundraising101.com. We've been working with Adele for the past few months. When we first met with Adele back in January, this was the issue that we were looking to help solve. Schools collect hundreds and thousands of box tops each school year and then have to spend their own time and resources cutting, sorting, and bundling these box tops for submission to General Mills to get the funding from them for them. We were working in conjunction with the senior engineering design team to develop a automated box top counter that would help reduce the amount of time and resources schools would have to put forth for the submission of these. As we dove into this, we realized that this inefficiency in the box tops process was part of a bigger issue that schools face. And that issue is schools perform better with better funding. So they desperately seek funding because statistics have shown that the per student funding is directly related to performance in terms of the standardized test scores that students have. The issue is that funding is decreasing. So both federally and state level funding for schools is currently decreasing. So you can see in the stat that there's 12 states that over the last 6 years have decreased per student funding from the state level, including right here at home in Texas with over a 10% reduction per student funding from the state level. So what this causes is the burden falls on the school to increase their funding. So right now the average school does 5 fundraisers per year to help accrue more funds for the school. The big issue with this is who's responsible for organizing and doing these fundraisers is the PTO board. So this is a collection of parents who have minimal knowledge typically on fundraising and how to fundraise. They obviously have limited time having young children as well as probably jobs and other things they're dedicated to. These positions have relatively high turnover. So as a student graduates or moves on or as a kind of home situation changes, they have to step out of these roles. And then what happens is there's no clear succession plan for these roles. And so what happens is there's a decent amount of loss of good information that happens from one board member to the next. That is why we have identified a website resource for these PTO board members that's very valuable to help fight all of these inefficiencies that happen. A perfect example of the inefficiencies that come from the fundraising process due to this is the Box Tops for Education program. So this program has huge participation rates. Over 90% of public schools participate in it. That's over 93,000 schools. I put participate in quotes because as you can see, the performance is very bad for most schools. So less than 2% are earning less than $3,000 a year. So less than 2% are earning more than $3,000 per year, which is staggering because schools can earn up to $20,000 per year off this program, with the national average this year being $621. So you can see that the performance in these programs is poor given the possibilities that they have, even with a predominant program like Box Tops for Education. So now Arian's going to talk more about who faces this issue and the current options that they have.
Thank you, Russell. So as Russell stated, there's over 93,000 schools that participate in Box Tops, and those schools have about 1 or so coordinators that help with the fundraising. Later on, we will eventually want to look beyond the schools that participate in Box Tops. Another target market is the PTO and PTA members of a board. On average, there's about 6 members. So that's over 590,000 board members that we could potentially target. So why is this market ineffective? Through our research, we have found that schools do not know where to look when it comes to fundraising, on getting tips, on getting help. And when they do find information, it's hard to find what is valuable from all the websites that they look at. And also it takes a lot of time looking from one website to another, and that's a constraint for people who have busy lives or have other things other than working with the school. So what if, let's look at the 10 Commandments. So what if all the 10 Commandments were out of order, all scrambled up? Can any of you find the 5th commandment? If you can, raise your hand. Some of you, okay. So this is a representation of how schools look for information on fundraising. All the information is there, but it's hard to find what is valuable. So what if the 10 Commandments were all in order and were neatly presented? Now can you find the 5th commandment? Raise your hand. Our goal for our website is to present the best practices and the valuable information that we have from our research and different websites that we have found, and present it in a neat way so that everyone will want to go and look at our website. So through our research, we have found that there's a poor transfer of information for schools, and it comes down to the coordinators. An example from a conversation that we had is with the Amy Parks Heath Elementary School near Dallas. There was a 50% decline in fundraising from the previous school year to this past school year because they didn't transition their coordinator very well from the one to the next. So what we help to do is alleviate these pains. So what I've said is it's hard to navigate and find valuable information. So our solution will be to have a user-friendly, organized information all set up and easy to digest. There's a lack of time that all these schools and all these parents and PTO members have. So our job and our website will be to be a place where they'll only have to stop at our website. There's also a lack of transfer of information from one coordinator to the next. And our job, or we hope for our website, is to have a school account where coordinators can have all their financials and all the resources that they used previously, and they'll put it on the website, and it'll be an easy transfer from one coordinator to the next. So I've talked about the market and the inefficiencies that our website will address. Now Brian will dive into the functionalities of the website.
Thank you, Ariane. So our website is going to have two basic functions. It'll be a place where people can share information and also can network with other Box Top coordinators. And also, we want a website to help these coordinators and these PTO members be more organized and more efficient. So first and foremost, we want to offer a lot of free information. And that free information is going to be stuff that is directly from our community. Our website is going to thrive on the community aspect. We want them to be interacting with each other and providing a lot of the content. So we want them to provide content on blogs, journals, articles, be very active on the message and forum boards. We want our community to be the ones providing a lot of this content. Now, one thing that we noticed in the research is that Box Top coordinators and PTO members would appreciate the opportunity to be able to connect with other members, an opportunity for them to share ideas and interact with them, but they don't really have a way of doing that. So our website could be a way for them to do that. Now, ultimately, as we're going back to what we said before with the pains, our website would alleviate that issue of people having to go to multiple sites and having information hard to find by having it all in one place. So that would alleviate that frustration that a lot of coordinators and PTO members find. Now, the other aspect of our website is going to be part of our premium subscription, and that is going to be to help organize the programs for our coordinators and for our PTO members. So we're going to have resources on there to help them, give them spreadsheets, as Ariane said before, have ways and capabilities on our website that allow them to track their box tops, track their performance, track their financials. We're also going to have on there reminders. One of the biggest issues that we found in our research was that coordinators are frustrated with the expiration dates. That's where they lose a lot of their money, is that they submit box tops too late. So our website would allow them to get reminders, knowing, hey, this is when expiration date is, so they can avoid that. Another aspect of our website that we want to incorporate is an email list. Oftentimes, these box top coordinators are having to print out or photocopy or email almost 1,200 people, parents, teachers, about the Box Tops program. So we want to be able to have a place on the website where all they have to do is submit those emails on the list, press a button, and then the emails are sent out. Now, another access of our premium subscription is going to be access to exclusive content. So rather than getting the community blogs, you'll have access to expert blogs from either our top performing PTO members or from fundraising consultants. Another aspect of the exclusive content is they're going to have access to be able to ask specific questions and get answers from people, that one-on-one consulting. That doesn't really exist in the fundraising world. Now, to get past the pain of this loss of transfer of information, we want to have a school-wide account, as Ariane said, so that when there is a transition, someone can go on the website, see what the past member did, see their notes, see their performance, get their spreadsheets, so that way they're able to easily transition and have all the resources they're going to need to be successful. So who's going to drive the site? Who are we going to have to partner with? Well, ultimately, it's going to have to be the PTO and the PTA members. Now, remember, the audience that we're searching for are the PTO board members or the Box Top coordinators that want more information, whether they're new, whether they're struggling, they want to improve, or they just want information, or they just want more information. and they're going before them or they're going online. But as we've seen, those can be really hit or miss. And we know that people have questions. The official Box Tops for Education Facebook page in February posted 8 office hour sessions. And during those times, they averaged 72 questions per session. So people have a lot of questions, but they don't have a place to get the answers. And so that's where a website can come in. And who better to give them the answers than top performing Box Top coordinators and PTO members. We want them to be the contributors on the website. We want them to be the ones adding content, the ones active on the forum boards. We want them to be the one answering these questions. Ultimately giving the advice and helping out these members and giving them that information that they so desire. And what we found from our research is that they are willing to help. We had great results in the surveys that we posted. We posted one survey to a Box Top Facebook page and got 50 responses within 2 days of people. And one of the people said, I love talking about my Box Tops program. And I love bragging about my school. And what we found also is that we had great responses when people were willing to talk to us via phone calls and emails. So we shouldn't have a problem getting people to join our team and contribute. And as I said, people want to contribute. They want to boast about the programs. They just don't have the platform to do so. So our website could be that platform for them. So what's the impact of having these people on our team? Well, we're going to get the support of the parent groups. If we can tell them that they're getting this information from the top program directors and from people just like them, that's going to help establish trust and establish our brand. Now, how are we going to get our website traction? How are we going to get people to the site? Well, for that, we can partner with the leader. That is PTOtoday.com. PTOtoday.com is the #1 online resource when it comes to anything and everything PTO related. They can give you information about how to run your meetings, how to get parents involved, how to appreciate your teachers, and one aspect is fundraising. That is one thing that they have on their website. This website gets a lot of traction. They average 110,000 visits per month. And in the beginning of school in August, they average 150,000 visits per month. So how can we tap into this? Well, we can do that by purchasing ads on their website, whether it's banner ads, whether it's ad on the weekly email they send out to 40,000 people, whether it's having a link on their yellow pages, having an ad on their magazine they send out to 83,000 people 7 times a year. There's lots of areas that we can tap into and advertise. Now, one of the things with the website is because they are so broad and because they focus on everything fundraising, they don't have the resources to focus on one specific thing like we do with fundraising. So if you currently go onto their yellow pages under the Box Tops, they have no links. So we don't really have any competition. So there is a place in the market for this. Now, as we said before, we want to initially start Box Top because it's a very popular program and there's a lot of potential, but schools are not maximizing the program as they could. So we feel that if we can start with Box Tops, improve schools' Box Top programs, then we can establish our methods and establish our brand. And then from that, be able to expand to more fundraising programs, such as direct sales, or other programs such as Labels for Education or recycling programs. For that, when we establish a brand, then we're going to want to partner with these product sales. Now, product sales and Box Tops for Education are the 2 most popular fundraising programs, with product sales being the most profitable fundraiser. In 2011, groups were able to fundraise $1.475 billion with these two programs, the majority of them being from product sales. So how can we incorporate product sales into our website? Well, they can purchase ad space, similar to what PTO Today does. They can buy a banner ad, they can get something on the emails that we'll be sending out, which could be a source of revenue for our website. Now, also, we want to make sure that we are providing an unbiased recommendation, similar to what Yelp does. If you go online, there's no site that gives unbiased recommendations. There are some sites that will recommend a direct sales company, but that's because they've been paid. They paid for that listing. So we want to be able to make sure that we're providing unbiased recommendations. We want our users to be able to go on, rate and comment on programs and on companies to make sure that our customers are getting the best product possible. So I've talked a little bit about the functionality of our website. Now Joseph is going to tell us about how we're going to get there.
Thank you, Brian. So in developing a website, we want to make sure that we have enough time to develop it. A good website can take anywhere from 12 weeks to 6 months to get off the ground and running. So we're giving ourselves 7 months to develop it, starting in June and going all the way to December. During this time, we'll get the initial website off the ground. We'll start working out all the bugs to start off our pilot program. This is where we would test out and validate our data about helping schools. And if if that all goes well, then we will move on to the subscription model, where we would offer more and additional features to schools to help them out, with also doing the reviews on product sales. In the initial process of website development, we'll hire the content creators. That will be the involved parents and fundraisers who are very good at what they do. They'll be writing the blog posts and be the initial posters to the forums and creators of the wiki that would be aggregators of all of the fundraising methods. The wiki would mainly be the place where we talk about specific types of fundraising, where it would have all the details listed out in formats that most people know how to read. And the forum will host conversations between these top contributors and people who might not know as much. And this would also be the place where we would start looking into SEM and SEO to start the initial process of gaining traction and getting traffic. This would be the time where we'd hire a web developer, sales, and marketing team. After that, we will launch our website in January of 2016. So we will start reaching out to schools then, and a little bit before then, so they'll get to know our name. They'll be able to use our services at no cost to them to testing out this pilot program. During this time, we'll also be working out all the bugs in the website as more people start going on the website, working out issues of traffic and seeing if our ideas are actually being validated. And if they are, we will move on to the subscription program in June. So once schools know our name and we have validated our data, we'll start beginning to offer more and more services to continue helping schools and reaching out to more schools. This will also be the time where we would also begin our direct sales reviews. So we could start recommending more direct sales based on unbiased recommendations, so that they would not be paying us, but we would be pointing out the best ones so that they would start getting more interested too. And now Ben will speak more about how we'll actually start gaining the traffic for this website.
So our marketing strategy, we basically have 3 avenues that we want to approach. The first one, as Joseph mentioned, is our school pilot program. Our second is our online marketing strategy, and our third is our webinars and expos. So our pilot program is going to be free at first, and as Russell mentioned and Ariane had mentioned, there's 93,000 schools out there that are making less than $3,000. So we're going to strategically select about 5% of those schools, so around 4,700 schools, to go through an initial pilot program. And what this is, it's kind of like a test run of our premium subscription. And this is going to be a no-risk, money-back guarantee. So they pay for half a year, which would be $25 up front. But if they don't meet the benchmark fundraising goal that we set, then they get their money back. So what this does is just gives us initial cash flow and incentive for them to work. Now, our next thing is online marketing strategy. And what we have here is basically search engine optimization. You want your website to come up on Google searches as the number 1. And these are really easy to implement. There's groups out there that you can hire an agency and do that. And the unique thing about box tops is we can target low-cost words such as box tops and fundraising that don't cost as much as other high-end words that people will type into search engines. And this is also going to capture that audience that is actively seeking for information. And then also webinars and expos. So what we're going to do here is after our pilot program, we're going to have some success stories. We're going to use our webinars free on our website to show that, hey, our process works, schools are actually making money doing this, and this is why you should give us $50 for the year subscription to be connected. And this is great because it's low cost for us, and it's just easy to capture, again, a large audience online. And also we mentioned expos. PTA today has a huge expo up in Dallas that they have every year. And so that's just going to be a great way to put our product in the face of the consumer. And also everyone at these expos are obviously very passionate about education, so they will want to listen to us. So basically our profit and loss. Now what we look at is first our revenue. So the first year we have the pilot program that launches, and like I said, that's $25 up front. We're assuming that we're going to have around 25% success rate with that. with our advertising, so we're bringing in just below $50,000 that first year. We are operating at a loss of around $155,000 that first year. Our second year, however, as you can see, our revenue drastically increases, and what we assume here is that we are going to have at least 5% of those schools coming and say, hey, they had success, we're willing to put in the money to use your website. And also our advertising is going to draw a lot more money just because we have more traction, more visitors. So with our continuing expenses also going down because website development is already underway and been developed, we are actually profiting at the end of the year of $125,000. Now we are also in a unique position because we're in the education industry. There are grants out there that range from $500,000 to $1 million, which could cover all those costs if they're written properly and we get them. And also, we will operate as a nonprofit company, so any profit we do have, we will pump back into fundraising and back into the education system. And now I'll pass it over to Nick, who will summarize what we've done so far and where we plan to go from here.
There are some critical issues that we need to address before we can get this off the ground. First is plagiarism. We want to protect the copywriting of our content on our website. The solution to this is a plagiarism tracking program like Flag Tracker, which would notify us when anything is plagiarized on our website, coupled with a moderator that would expel the malignant material if it's found at all. This would prevent lawsuits and establish our integrity. The second issue is companies mimicking our model. Well, the information provided by fundraising services right now is very broad in scope. What we want to supply is something specific and niche. That is no less needed. This would separate us from our competition, but also make us attractive for future acquisition of this data, which we'll have a lot of at that time. In this project, we started with box tops, but the opportunity for improving schools reaches far beyond the single program. We've proven that there is a favorable market for a website to be a resource for educators and parents to get on the ground floor of effective fundraising. Right now, there's no standard resource, but all the pieces are here. We just have to put them together. Whoever moves forward in this project needs to have two things. First, parent involvement. Parents who have the time and passion to bring this project to light. Second is a team or organization to fund the website and support its staff. To include, anyone can do a Google search on fundraising and come up with something. But whatever they find, it's hardly validated. We think that we can be a website that can improve schools and provide this great service. We'd like to thank Adele for your time and motivation on this project, and we hope you consider our proposal carefully. Thank you.
Tyler envisioned for January to May. How does that map with the flow of these kinds of programs? Is that going to give you really accurate data, or are you late in the school year and making conversations with educators and parents?
Yeah, so ideally you would want to launch in August or June to catch that kind of beginning of the year. Unfortunately, just given the time frame to get a website up and running, we think it's too premature. So we kind of we don't want to waste that whole school year. So we think we can effectively leverage that half a year to, on one hand, show the immediate effect that our website can have from the first year, because Box Up pays out twice a year. So in regards to the Box Up program specifically, we would be able to compare exactly what they got for the first half of the year to what they got for the second half of the year. So we think that's kind of the benefit of starting halfway through the year. Although it's not ideal, it at least will give a, for sure, difference in terms of earnings.
Do you have the entrepreneur that's starting this, they have the URL secure, that fundraising 101?
It's available, but it's not been secure. We just came up with that name.
Okay. I just think people doing searches, a better name would be school fundraising if it's available. You know, having the word school in it, I think is key for people just doing searches. You know, a lot of times, because you have to spend a lot of money with SEO firms. You don't have the keyword in your URL. I would think that would be really important to try to secure from ground zero. That URL is so important, I think.
Definitely.
Especially since more than just schools use fundraising. Sports teams can fundraise, other groups. So I think having that school, and that could also help with the possibility if we want to explore grants as well, because then we can fall into education.
So is this real? Is this something that somebody's pursuing? Are they going to actively pursue this?
We hope so.
Okay, so why nonprofit? Okay, so I'm like the absolute target market. And I wish I went to a school that only did 5 fundraisers. I mean, we get like 5 a week. I mean, it is insane. And so a need for something like this that would consolidate would be a godsend. I mean, it was phenomenally good. I have no idea why you'd want to do it as a nonprofit. And a subscription model is, you're looking at $50 a year at 7,000 schools. It's tough to make up. Then you're going to have advertising. Why not rev share? I mean, you've got all of these different companies that are doing fun runs, doing scarves, doing chocolate, doing fruit, doing this. If you had a consolidated platform where somebody could come from a PTO and say, okay, here's the best ones that are working that I could click through, and then you rev share with those. I mean, nonprofit's great, God bless you, but that would be a great revenue model.
Yeah, so to address the nonprofit, the mindset is in this industry, being nonprofit helps just in terms of building trust as well as securing grants. You can get grants if you are for profit, but it's a little more difficult. So it's kind of an image thing to keep the non-profit angle.
Talk a little bit about the decision to go a subscription versus like a revenue share model or something like that. How did you come about?
Yeah, I think and it kind of plays into the nonprofit is we want to be an unbiased, like we want to be kind of like for the people, by the people type of deal. So we don't want to cloudy any of that by having, like we played with listing revenue from these direct sales, but we really decided that positioning ourselves in a way where we're completely unbiased and we're for the people. Most of the content is created by these PTO board members. So I think that's just kind of the mindset behind not doing any sort of like revenue sharing with these companies, but instead doing a subscription model based on the users of the site.
There's a single sentence philosophy I always take with that. It's without profit, there is no charity. And you just kind of think about that. If you're not building a company that's sustainable, you can't be there to help anybody. And so with that revenue share, even though it kind of feels like you don't want to be taking part of it, I think it'd be a harder sell to sell a subscription than to tell somebody, look, give me all your box tops, we're going to process them, and I get 25% or whatever.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Because you got a volunteer that's going to have to do this, and if he's like, I don't care, 75 cents on the dollar is better than 100 cents on the dollar with me doing the work.
Also, I think that second year operating cost coming down, way down, is not so realistic, just from experience of starting out companies, that usually does not happen, so, it's better to have some lagniappe, and I agree with that revenue sharing, and it may be increasing that subscription price to $100, you could double it, it's still a nominal fee for a school that's looking to raise, $10,000, $20,000, what's 5% of 20,000, or a half a percent of 20,000 is $100 or whatever that is.
I was impressed y'all did a survey. What did you ask in the survey? Did you ask some of these questions to get a feel for what people do?
Yeah, the survey was primarily geared towards box stops, so it was like who currently does the sorting, collecting, what's type of promotion involved. So there's a lot of box stop related questions specific to the box stop program at the schools.
And the target was what, box stop coordinator? Who got that survey?
Yeah, the box stop coordinators. So mostly parents who have that role.
I'm not clear on who buys this. Who's buying the subscription? Is it every school's PTA or PTO? Is it the actual school? Is it in the school budget? Does it have to be in the PTO budget? I'm wondering where's the money coming from?
It'll be the PTO boards of the individual schools.
Okay, and you know that they have money for this.
Yeah, so PTO today has a premium subscription. There's a couple other resources that also have these types of premium subscription models, so they are able to raise the funds to pay for it.
And why would they pay for you? I don't know. There's the PTO. They have their own website. They have their stuff. Why are they going to pay money for something else? I mean, is it something that? Are you saying that you're going to work in conjunction with the one that already exists, or are you trying to ask them to join a whole
provides them with lots of information that they would ever need to know about running their PTO. But they don't focus, but because their focus is on entirely with everything that comes with the PTO, they don't focus on specifically on one thing, which is like fundraising. So if you go onto the fundraising site, it's actually a little bit underwhelming what they have on their website with regards to fundraising. They have a couple of articles, like if you go on their box tops, just search box tops on their page. They have a couple of articles about how to improve, but that depth of that information isn't very great. If you go on their yellow pages, under their directories, I mean, we found that one of the most popular fundraising programs was Cookie Dough, but they only had one listing on their website for Cookie Dough. And so I think that the difference between the PTO today, which is a great resource, and us is that, us focusing specifically on fundraising is where we have that edge. And with that premium subscription, they're getting access to not only some documents, but also a discount on insurance. Because for a lot of these PTO events, you have to have them insured. So through PTO today, you can get things insured. So their services are a little bit different than the services that we offer.
So you're complementary to what they do, or do you see yourselves as competing at some level?
I think that we would be more complementary.
I also think that, expanding sales of this entity, if you could have like regional mommy bloggers, the power of these mommy bloggers is amazing. How many follow this one lady in Dallas, say the Texas region, if it could be, instead of hiring the sales personnel, just, commission sharing with those mommy bloggers would be key to get the word out.
Yeah, and I think that we have that unique opportunity in that the kind of the focus of our website is that we want to help improve schools, to help children. I think that having that angle would allow us to have that opportunity to be able to partner with those type of people. And there are people that have these websites, and we were thinking those could be the people that we could bring in to be that insider information that you can get with that premium subscription. The access to those articles would be.
I would suggest one other way of looking at it to build out is the subscription model is a wall. You're building a wall for $35,000. 7,000 schools, 5,000 a school, or 350,000. Whatever it is, it's a very, very small amount. You're building an impediment versus if you went freemium and then you rev shared. Again, I'm a target person. I would use this in a split second. If there was a consolidated place where all of this junk that's all over the place that I could go to, that could do a fundraiser, I could click, hey, I like this one, and this one. Here's some information on how to do it. It's consolidated. You rev share with the cookie dough provider or the who else provider, or you take part of the ones from the school. Man, that would be a killer process. Would use it.
I hate to cut this short. We're going kind of long, but this is some great discussion. And I encourage you guys afterwards or during any of our downtime to continue the conversation as necessary. But let's give this team a hand.